Why don't Facebook adverts work for estate agents anymore? Today, I'm joined by James Cocker, who is Facebook advert supremo for estate agents. James, tell me, why are Facebook adverts not working anywhere near as well as they used to for estate agents? Talk to me.
Well, first of all, it's about how you use the Facebook ads, right? So with paid advertising, all it's there to do, especially with Facebook's algorithm, it has more data on you, knows more about you than you do, knows more about me than I do, right? Yeah. I play it very safe on the internet these days, I gotta say. But all it is a case of they exist to put the right message in front of the right person at the right time for them, so you can actually bring them closer to being a customer. And I would have it that, look, Facebook ads, there's two ways you can do it to grow your database, get a bunch of kind of general contacts, get them into your database, nurture them for the long term, that's absolutely fine. Or you can go very specific to the people that you want to reach, the vendors, the landlords, maybe to sell a specific kind of property, give it a bit of a boost in today's market.
Isn't it funny that most estate agents, the gold I would say is in the long term, but everyone wants it now.
That's true, but Facebook ads, you can use it to get both types of people in, right? And I would say that, look, if you can't get, at the end of the day, you're paying for this advertising. The value in paying for it is so you can speed up the process of speaking to the right people. If you're not speaking to the right people, as in people that are going to do a property transaction at some point soon, and they need the help of an estate agent and are happy to speak to you, if you're not having those conversations, you're not doing it right. Or if you can't do that, you're not doing it right.
Well, let's look at the first cohort, the group,
Yes.
which is the people that are wanting to do business with an estate agent soon, which will be probably an instant valuation or something like that. What has changed? Why are estate agents? You know, some people say it's the creative is the be all and end all of whether it's going to work or not. Do you think the issue has always been creative, or was something changed? Like, we've got this housing filter that you can't target within 10 miles. So what advice would you give to estate agents looking to get business right here, right now, as in vowels and stuff like that, or a listing that they want to sell?
Right. So at the end of the day, it's local lead gen. It's within a small area. It's a very simple thing. It's not necessarily about it's the creative that doesn't work, it's the copy that doesn't work. It's just the overall message, and it's what people want. So who are you trying to reach? You're trying to reach sellers. What do they want to do at the end of the day? They want a good price for their home, and they don't want a load of stress when it comes to actually moving home. So put that in front of them, right? I mean, what's the biggest way agents grow at times, or over the years, how have they grown? Boards breed boards. We know this. When you sell a property, you may get a referral from the seller, from the buyer, and that person across the road 6 months from now, when they decide they want to move home, they saw you did a good job with that one, they'll give you a call, right? So that still works today. That's always worked for estate agents. Why wouldn't you just do that in terms of your Facebook ads? But you can just control how many people it reaches, specifically who it's going to reach. And if that's what they're going to engage with, the social proof. And if you can say things like, look, get your home sold. In today's market, it's very important to price your home correctly. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck on the market for a long time. You're going to steal the properties that you like, sell, and you can't make an offer because you've not sold your current one.
So the message there is not,
It's
do you want a
specific.
free, is not, do you want a free val? Because everyone's got an instant valuation nowadays, haven't they?
Everybody's seen one of them before, and this is it with instant valuations, is why oftentimes with agents, when I've spoken to them and they've used instant valuations, they say, well, a lot of people that we called, we could get in touch with, they said, well, I clicked it by accident. I'll tell you now, Chris, nobody clicks on something on the internet and fills out a form by accident. It's just a case of, with the instant valuations, they're good to build your database long term, but they're not good. It depends on how you advertise it, but they're not good to build that, let's say, smaller audience and bring forth the people that actually want to talk to
So
you.
that sounds very counterintuitive to most estate agents, that by asking for the free val, it is actually falls into the second camp, which is the building your database.
Because it's about how you market it, really. Because the typical instant valuation Facebook ad for estate agents typically revolves around, what's your home worth now? Find out in 30 seconds. Well, everybody wants to know what a home is worth, right? They may have seen one, they may live in one with somebody else, they may be a first-time buyer still living at home, for example, want to know what the current property is worth. Everybody's seen one before. It applies to everybody. It's general. But if you're going to pay to, well, people think they need more leads to speak to more sellers. You need more prospects to speak to more sellers and more landlords that want to work with you. If you're reaching somebody saying, what's your home worth now, find out in 30 seconds, that's not specific to people that are looking to sell or let a property, not necessarily. Everybody can engage with
So
that.
what sort of adverts would you be put if someone came to you and says, I need some more vowels, more listing, I need more listings, I need them now, and I've got 500 quid. I don't necessarily, let's be honest, the long-term bit is very important, but
Absolutely.
let's just assume they're not interested in that, which is foolhardy. What would you spend the £500 on there? What would the advert look like? I know you're kind of giving some of your secrets away,
That's fine.
but what am I putting out there?
So the first thing I would say to them is, have you sold, I take it you sold a few properties. Give me a few of your most recent sold results in the areas that you want to sell more properties in. And I'll just have them as a short video, just like a short slideshow presentation basically. Come up on the screen, sold area, get your valuation, or I'd do it as a carousel ad, the ads where you see a picture and you can scroll and scroll and scroll. This is great social proof, and it all centers around, if you're looking to sell in this area, it's very important to get the price right today, find out what your home could sell for. I wouldn't send them to a free valuation. What I would do instead, because this is the thing, I've done these type of ads with people, with instant valuations, and we've gone very specific, and I can tell you that all the people that filled out that form were selling. Well, because they've seen it so many times and they may not be selling until January or February, they feel like as an estate agent is going to sell to them. So they still put in fake information because they've seen it so many times before. What I would do there instead is just use a Facebook form. The contact info, Facebook already has it, post it in automatically, but I wouldn't give them an instant valuation because you want a reason for them to be contacted by you. So what I would say instead is, look, if you're thinking of selling or you're just curious, we want to give you an accurate valuation. So fill out the details below, tell us about your property, and one of our agents will be in contact within 24 hours about your valuation. And then they have a need to look out for an email from you or a phone call. I mean, some of my clients, they call leads like this, or sometimes they use things like Sprift is a great tool, Bricks and Logic, send over a property report. They really like that stuff, or a home search report. Perhaps people really like that. You can mail it to their address.
Something of value.
Exactly, something of value that is actually valuable to them in their current position, and they actually want to see from you, and they actually need to have a conversation about it.
So instead of sending them to a Valpal or instant valuation figure, which let's be honest, the number might be off, you're actually giving them something of actual tangible value, which a Sprift report, Bricks and Logic or Sprift, and they're looking forward to your contact. So the mindset of the person.
100%, 100%. But look, if you're selling, you don't mind. Like most of the leads we're getting through right now in November, all the feedback is that yes, I'm selling, and when the agent spoke to them, they're looking to go to the market in January. So you're starting to build a pipeline because you've gone specific and because you gave them an actual need to be contacted by you.
And then, of course, if they're not going to do anything, you can put them into the nurture pile.
You can do, yeah, exactly.
Okay. So give me some ideas of how you would nurture someone for the long term. Do you just go for the short term and push them across? Or is there some specific types of adverts which is just pure hardcore long term?
So this is, again, with nurturing, it's a case of where did that lead come from? How did you get that lead? Because there's agents out there with loads of contacts in the database. I'll give you an example of an agent I was working with more recently. Nationwide letting agent had tens of thousands of landlord contacts in the database, but the way they got all those leads in the database, they were just kind of shopping around on a third party, just looking at fees and that kind of thing. 82% of landlords self-manage. Unless they really start to panic, or you make them panic about the renters reform bill, they're not going to do anything really, right? So it's all about how did you get those contacts? Well, in 2 weeks, I can tell you that we got from emails, from 3 emails, we got 32 rental valuation requests. Got a great sales team. The sales team can only turn 32 full valuation requests into 4 actual valuations, because the feedback was, well, yeah, I'd like to know what my house could rent for. I've rented it for 2 years, not put the rent up. I'd like to know, but I don't want your agent round in my house trying to sell to me about your management, your letting services, right? Because those leads were just generated they were just general leads, really. They weren't generated with a need to talk to you, a desire to talk to you. They were just shopping around on some third party somewhere. So when they do come through, whatever, or they do book an appointment, they don't actually have a need to talk to you. So for those ones and stuff like that, and we'll go on the selling conversation because I know oftentimes people want sellers the most, especially in today's market. So let's say you get your instant valuation contacts and you reach them with what's your home worth now. But the mistake a lot of people make with nurturing is, well, you can't go from what's your home worth now, maybe 5 out of 100 contacts that you get from there are thinking of selling at some point, I can tell you instant valuations, half the time the phone number will be incorrect, but 95% of the time the email will be correct. But then everybody just puts on a nurture sequence that goes into selling or letting a property. That's specific content for the general audience.
So you're trying to woo them into bed when in reality you get them
Right.
into bed when you've got to woo them a bit over a period of long term.
Exactly.
And is that what you're saying, that the agents are probably just going a bit too hardcore fast? And really the nurture system, the content that you put in is slowly catchy monkey.
Well, you could have the best property blogs in the world, the best tips on selling a property and market updates and stuff. It's going to be wasted on them because they're not interested in that stuff. Like everybody's got emails in their inbox from stuff they've signed up to online. I've got an email inbox specifically for that stuff. Over 7 years of just like, that's the email that I put in if I've got to sign up for something for free, give my data up. I looked in there earlier before we did this interview. I get on average 40 emails a day, right? Now, potentially in there might be stuff in that inbox business-wise that could help me in my position right now, fitness-wise in my position right now. But because I was not interested in that stuff, in those emails and that extra content, that more specific content at that moment in time, I've ignored it for years.
So what
I'm
sort of
still ignoring
content
it now.
should agents should be putting out to play the long-term nurture?
So if you've got a general audience, you've generated them in a way that it wasn't exclusive, it's inclusive of everybody. Well, if they've signed up for instant valuation, what's your house worth? Why not just write them a newsletter from you, not necessarily automated, once a month. For example, in Sheffield right now, we have some Christmas markets. If I was an estate agent with a bunch of, this doesn't have to be instant valuation leads, it could just be anybody in your database, right?
So talk about the local community.
What's going on? We've got some Christmas markets. I might talk about what I'm looking forward to there, or what I'm going to
Nothing
do
to
the
do with
most.
the estate agency.
Not necessarily right now, but what I would talk about in that newsletter is some local goings on that you're looking forward to, some stuff to do with the local property market. What are you noticing? What are some trends?
House prices, rents, yields, direction, property market info, that sort of stuff.
A little bit, just general stuff, right?
About the town though, not UK.
Not about the town, specifically to their area, right? Specific to the area, but not specific to selling or letting a property in that area right
So
now.
it's information, but not trying to sell them anything.
Exactly, yeah. But this is it. That's going to get them much more, more of them switched on to you. And if they read a newsletter and they like the content, it was interesting to them, they're going to start to become a bit more interested in you. So next month when you send one, they're going to read it again.
And in a year's time when they do sell, you're the only agent of choice.
Well, this is it, is that potentially, but let's say, it's a longer term thing over 5 years. Well, if I've got somebody with an instant valuation and I said, what's your house worth? But they weren't thinking of selling, but 5 years from now, their position changes, the change of job or something, expanded family, whatever. But I've been sending them every week specific selling content. Back to like my email inbox, I wasn't interested in it at all, right? So I'm going to ignore that. People don't unsubscribe from mailing lists today, Chris. They just ignore it. It's under a mountain of other stuff that people are trying to sell to them. And so if they're not having those touch points though, they're just going to ignore it. Their brain is used to ignoring it and not seeing you in that inbox. So even 5 years from now, if you've got some stuff landing in their inbox about selling, they still may not notice it. But if you get, because it was specific and they're used to ignoring it because it's just not for them. So if you actually give them the newsletter, it's much more entertaining for them. And 5 years from now, if they actually switched on to you, then you're going to get that valuation, you're going to get that instruction there.
James, insightful as ever. Thank you very much. It's all about playing the long game, but isn't anything in this world. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.